今日はいい日だが、私はこれからの人生も見てみたい。
Home. On a Saturday morning after breakfast, you change your clothes and get ready to head out. Artem sits at the dining table checking his work emails. He casually picks up the white medicine box beside him. Do you still need to take your medicine today? I remember the doctor said you could stop after completing one course of treatment. You stop his hand and pick up the box instead, checking the instructions printed on the side. I was right. Let me check if you still have any rashes. Are you still itchy?
ああ、だいぶ良くなったようだ。首の下がまだ少し赤いが、よく見なければわからないほどになったし。
He unbuttons his collar, putting the fabric aside and revealing a thin red marks on his collarbone. At a glance, it looks like a mosquito bite.
この数日、食後に薬を飲む習慣がついてしまったからな。すぐに気づけなかった。
Recently, there was a mishap in the law firm's collaboration with a company in the capital. Artem rushed there to help his colleagues fix the situation. After several busy days, he came down with a high fever right after getting home. At first, he thought it was just a cold, but that night a red rash appeared all over his body. A visit to the hospital revealed it was dermatitis triggered by exhaustion and a weakened immune system. The doctor said it wasn't serious, non-contagious, self-limiting, and would get better on its own. But with the fever present, he needed several days off before he gets better. You pull his collar back, fingers brushing against his skin. Autumn draws in a slow, deep breath. He tilts his head back slightly, perfectly cooperative.
その目で見て安心しただろ？本当に大丈夫だ。
It's much better than it was 2 days ago. I remember the doctor said the rash would go away on its own. No need to keep applying the ointment, though the color would fade slowly. Also, if you want to recover fast, work less and rest more. Life isn't over yet. There's no need to rush back into things.
午前の予定が済んだら一緒に散歩に行かないか？これほど美しい秋に家にこもったままではもったいないからな。
Where do you want to go? After the check, you let out a sigh of relief and help Artem button up his shirt.
楓川キャンプ場はどうだろう？昨日朝食を買いに降りた時、赤く染まった葉を見て、もみじ狩りの季節だったと思い出した。民宿を予約して昼に紅葉を見よう。夜は小さなテントを張って外でバーベキューを。君には焼き栗も用意する。最近は仕事にインタビューの収録と立て込んでいるからな。週末に気分転換に出かけるのも悪くない。
It really has been a while. I should go out and unwind. Lately, you've been a guest on a legal talk show. You probably look exhausted every time you got home from a recording, something that didn't escape his notice. You don't want to dwell on the interview stuff, and truthfully, spending so much time in front of a screen is starting to wear you down. A change of scenery sounds nice. Suddenly, he remembers something and picks up the cell phone from the table.
そうだ。君のインタビュー記事はもう配信されているのではないか？まだ見ていないんだ。
Ah, Autumn. The word online makes your eyebrow twitch. Seeing that he's about to search for it, you quickly grab your bag and head for the door. It's almost time to go. I need to go record the next episode. Let's pack our luggage together when I come back at noon.
旅行に必要なものは分かっているから、準備ができたら迎えに行こ
You continue walking, not giving a direct answer. Artem follows you to the door and asks again while helping you into your coat.
う。昼に迎えに行ってもいいだろうか。
Artem can be incredibly persistent at times, repeatedly asking questions until he gets an answer. Just like that birthday teddy bear at home that won't stop singing once you press the switch. Once you forgot to turn it off before going out, it kept mumbling to itself until the battery eventually died. Unaware of the empty room and under the assumption that someone was listening. There's nothing forceful or demanding in his question. He's just waiting for an answer, any answer. You take the coat from him, let out a small sigh, and wrap your arms around him. Sure, I'll wait for you to pick me up. Make sure to dress warmly before heading out. And don't just worry about me. Take good care of yourself too.
自分のことは大丈夫だ。君こそ。
His hand rests gently on your back, pulling you into a tighter hug. Probably remembering you're in a rush, he quickly lets go and doesn't finish his sentence.
気をつけて。
You reply softly and step outside, but before the door shuts completely, you glance back. As expected, Artem is still standing where you left him. As the door closes and his figure disappears behind it, another voice suddenly echoes in your mind.
弁護士さん最大の成功は左京静馬のパートナーに選ばれたことでしょうね。全部彼に任せておけばいいんですから。
It's an anonymous letter from a listener, something you haven't told Artem about yet. Interview recording room. At 9 a.m., you sit in the recording studio of Voice of Answers, listening to the host recite the usual program opening.
リスナーの皆様、こんにちは。アンサーズボイスのお時間です。若手法律家の実力というコーナーを設けてから、多くの法律家の皆様からお悩みのお手紙を頂戴しております。本日もテミスの弁護士さんをお迎えして、皆様のお悩みにお答えいただきましょう。
A Voice of Answers is a highly popular podcast interview show. The production team announces the topics in advance and collects listeners' letters from various platforms. These are then addressed by the host and the guests. Though they are called letters, they are really just anonymous online comments. There is no signature nor cost to submit. After a simple screening, they are sent directly to the guests. Once the legal segment begins, you're invited as a guest. After recording several episodes, you're already familiar with both the process and the kinds of situations you'll be facing. After the opening remarks, it's your turn to greet the audience. You say your usual pleasantries and quickly move on to the letter response segment.
では、最初のお便りは、新しい会社法について左京先生のご意見を賜りたいと。左京先生大人気ですね。本人はいらっしゃらないのに質問は彼のことばっかり。弁護士さん、左京先生のパートナーとして彼のことをよくご存知でしょう？少し聞かせてもらえませんか？
Another person trying to get to Artem through me. Ever since the recordings began, you've almost always found yourself in the awkward position of being ignored or treated like a mere mouthpiece. When your title as a Tammy's attorney appears alongside Artem's name in a case file, it's only natural that most people focus on him. Still, just like in previous recordings, you don't want to drag Artem into this. You press the mute button on your microphone and look at the host. Sorry, I believe Mr. Wing has his own opinion on the matter, but relaying it through me might not be accurate.
弁護士さん、私も困らせたくはないのですが、 この後の投稿はすべて左京先生に関係のあるものでして。
The host waves to pause the recording, taps on the tablet a few times, and enlarges the message screen for display.
こちらは弁護士さんのことを考えて、不適切な投稿は削除済みです。信じていらっしゃらないのでしたら、直接お見せしましょうか。
What experience could a young attorney possibly have? Her resume is built off her partner's reputation. Tamashirara? Never heard of her. Just say she's Artem's and move on. Line after line appears before your eyes. One comment even directly mentions your personal relationship. You and Artem never deliberately hide the fact that you're engaged. At the same time, you've never felt the need to make it public. As you interact with more people, word gradually spreads through word of mouth. Normally, people keep their thoughts about your partnership, workplace hierarchy, or relationship to themselves. But on this anonymous platform, they pour everything out in front of you. Let's talk about something practical, like how to get chosen as Artem's work partner. This message, combined with the words that flashed through your mind this morning, makes you especially anxious today. But something deep inside seems to hint that there is more to it than that. Lost in thought, you hear the host clear his throat before he begins to comfort you.
弁護士さん、それほど気にすることではありませんよ。実のところ、テミスの誰が来たって、注目は左京先生に集まるに決まってますから。現実的に考えてみてください。ほとんどの弁護士先生は左京先生ほどの知名度も経験もありませんし、当然のことでしょう。ですが、あなたは左京先生の婚約者だ。その関係を生かすのはどうです？誰よりも彼を分かっているはずですよね。
I'm sorry, regardless of our relationship, we can't speak on behalf of each other. His so-called comforting words only stir your heart further, like layers of stones piling on your chest, making it hard to breathe. You take measured breaths, trying to calm down. If you'd like to continue discussing the new company law regulations, I can share my thoughts.
まあいいでしょう。この先の現場インタビューでプレッシャーに耐えられるといいのですが。はあ、随分と長く話し込んでしまいましたね。少し休憩をとって、それから収録を再開しましょ
う。The host's voice in your ears and the text in front of your eyes both become a tangible weight, pressing down on your heart. You really need some fresh air, so you nod in response. Alright, I'll organize my thoughts and come back. You sit in the pantry for a while until your mood settles a bit. After that interlude, there's no way the recording will finish on time. Looks like you'll have to stay here and have the staff meal. With that in mind, you send a message to Artem saying you have to work overtime and that he doesn't need to rush to pick you up. Then you hurry back to the recording room. Corridor. Just a few steps from the door, you vaguely hear voices coming from inside. One keyword instantly snatches your attention.
元へは昔からテニスのクライアントでしたよね。なんでまた急に新しい事務所に？
テミスの方が元へにトラブルを起こしたらしいですよ。左京先生が夜遅くに首都まで飛んでフォローしていたのに無駄に終わったようで。
まさかあの左京静馬が動いても無理だったんですか？
You two, it's not very nice to gossip behind people's backs. You knock on the open door and glance at the two people in the recording room. Besides, the content you're discussing involves misinformation and confidential information about our law firm. That should do for a reminder. As soon as you hear that the topic is related to a company called the Primewell Group, a wave of unease rises in you, but you try your best to keep it under control. The rumors are half true, but Artem did put in a lot of effort to save the Primwell group. Since the matter isn't properly resolved yet, this isn't the time to stir up more trouble. At such a crucial time, I need to keep a low profile. You sigh silently, only now realizing that you've reminded yourself of the same thing countless times during the filming of this show. The expressions of the two people inside stiffen for a moment. The host is the first to recover, putting on a smile as he greets you at the door.
みんな冗談を言っていただけですよ。さあ、弁護士さんも戻られましたし、おしゃべりはこの辺にして収録を始めましょうか。
I'm all set. We can start whenever you're ready. Just as you finish speaking, your phone buzzes briefly. It's a message from Artem. Calls over, I'll come pick you up. As you read the text message, the voice and tone echo in your mind. A gentle thought crosses your heart, and you immediately sit up straight and return to the recording booth with renewed focus. Street. When you walk out of the recording center, it's already afternoon. Breathing in the fresh outdoor air helps ease the emotions that have built up during the interview. You take out your phone to call Artem. As you hold the phone to your ear and look up, you see him standing right in front of you. The car is parked by the road. Artem leans against the vehicle, his gaze directed toward the towering buildings behind the recording center, his focus unclear. The phone rings twice in your ear. Artem glances down at his phone but doesn't answer right away. Instead, he looks toward the entrance of the building. Your eyes meet, but from this distance, you can't make out his expression. You see him put away his phone and walk over, so you hang up as well. Are you here so early? Have you been waiting long?
いや、それほど待っていない。家を出てから君の連絡に気づいて、引き返すのも手間だから、この辺りで時間を潰していた。
Artem leans forward slightly and reaches out to touch the corner of your eye. His hand is cool as he gently caresses you with his fingertips.
顔色が悪いな。疲れているなら、先に帰って休もうか。楓川は、また日を改めてからでも。
It's fine. I'd like to go out for a walk right now. You link arms with him and walk toward the parked car, opening the door first. These days, it's not just Artem who is cooped up at home. You also feel trapped in an invisible box, desperate to escape the city and catch a glimpse of autumn. Artem walks to the other side to open the door, gathers his coat as he sits in the driver's seat, and asks in his usual tone.
急な残業だったようだが、収録でうまくいかないことがあったのか？
Oh, actually... You hesitate before looking over, but the car frame completely obscures Artem's figure. You are like two misaligned picture frames, just missing each other's expression in that moment. After getting in the car, you suddenly notice that the window is facing the electronic screen outside the recording building. The voice of answers is playing. There's no sound, but scrolling sararas roll across the screen. Thank goodness it wasn't showing my section. You let out a sigh of relief for some reason, take out a bottle of water, and think about how to answer his question. I've run into a bit of trouble. As for the details, let's talk about it later. You want to find some time to have a proper talk with him, but now is clearly not the right moment. Artem smoothly opens the GPS map, his gaze lingering on the navigation screen for a moment before turning to look at you.
ああ、話したいときはいつでも聞こう。
There's been a slight delay due to an unexpected situation, but it's nothing serious. Don't worry.
そうだな。
He responds with his head lowered, his voice weak. The hair at his temples falls over the side of his face, making it hard to read his expression. Speaking of the production team, the rumor you heard outside the recording room door weighs even more heavily on your mind. Alright, what about the Primewell Group wanting to switch law firms seems to have got it out. Even the TV production crew was talking about it today. If other law firms try to reach out during this time, wouldn't that affect your negotiations with the Primewell Group?
心の準備はできている。
Artem replies absentmindedly, his grip loosening as the seatbelt snaps back. He frowns and fastens it again. He seems to deliberately avoid the topic of the Primewell Group, much like how he dodges your questions during the interview. Without asking further, you turn on the car radio, just wanting to hear something in the background. While the interface loads, you reach back for the seatbelt. Let's go then. We don't have a long holiday, so let's not waste time on the road. I'll put on some music. What do you want to hear?
君が選んで、いや、待ってくれ。
The radio resumes where it left off last time, according to the play history. By the time Artem tries to stop it, it's already too late.
弁護士さん最大の成功は左京静馬のパートナーに選ばれたことでしょうね。全部彼に任せておけばいいんですから。
This is your first recording, your first letter. As the sound hits your ears, the memory of that day and how you felt when you first heard those words come rushing back all at once. You stare down at your seatbelt, wanting to switch off the radio, but your arms feel too heavy to lift. As you're caught in that inner struggle, the sound in the car suddenly disappears. Artem turns off the radio and leans in to help fasten your seatbelt, his hair brushing lightly against your cheek.
眠くなったら椅子を倒して楽にするといい。余計なことは考えず、何も心配するな。ボトルを預かっておくから、水を飲みたくなったら私を呼んでくれ。
He takes the bottled water you left on the front dashboard and puts it in the cup holder. Okay. You nod mechanically, watching the scenery shift through the windshield. Artem drives away from the recording center and merges into the traffic. The car is unusually quiet. Apart from the soft hum of the engine, the only sound comes from the occasional sloshing of the water in the bottle as you hit the bumps in the road. You see nothing for the rest of the ride. Outside the window, skyscrapers give way to fields and farmland. You arrive at Maple River Camping Park just before dusk. Maple River Camping Park. After unpacking, you carry the ingredients to the barbecue area. The staff help light the fire and grill and then bring over sweet potatoes and chestnuts from the farm. You and Artem set up a single leaf canopy tent. With other people around, neither of you brings out what was said in the car. Once the grill is piled with food and lit, and the staff ride off on the electric bikes, you step out of the tent. It is only then that you realize that night has already fallen. You're the only campers nearby. In the distance, a few scattered lights dot other campsites, but the ground lamps and bonfires are nothing compared to the stars above. Wind whistles through the trees, blending with the crackling of firewood. Artem takes a few steps back, snapping a twig underfoot, arms crossed as he surveys a row of empty tents in the distance. What are you looking at?
ああ、ここから見ると、あのテントがカタツムリの殻に見えたんだ。
Artem stands with his arms folded across his chest, turning slightly toward you. As he looks back, his scarf covers half his face, leaving only his gentle eyes visible.
今は寒いから外泊を避けたいところだが、来年の秋はもう少し早い時期に来て、テントで一晩過ごすのはどうかと思ってな。
You said the tent looks like a snail shell, so what does that make the people inside?
カタツムリの殻を拾った後、 そうだな。思いつきそうにない。君の方で何か思いついたら教えてくれ。
He tosses the question back to you with a relaxed laugh, sets up two canvas chairs, and gestures for you to sit. You sit beside the grill with a bonfire flickering on the other side. Beyond that, where the light can't reach, a dark forest stretches quietly. Autumn switches on a camping lantern, and its glow falls softly on you as he looks in your direction.
気分は良くなったように見えるが、少しインタビューの話をしてもらえないだろうか。
When he asks with that gentle tone, you clench your fists for a moment, then you slowly release them. The topic has been lingering since the car ride. Now that it's finally here, you feel strangely at ease. Okay, but I'm not quite sure where to begin.
大丈夫だ。私の知っている状況から話そう。実は一昨日から君の様子がおかしいと感じていた。最初は仕事の疲れが溜まったのかと思ったが、今朝にインタビューの話をしたら、その話題を避けているように見えたから。君が出かけた後、何本か番組を確かめたんだ。そこで初めて何に直面しているのか分かったよ。だが、まだ全てを理解したわけじゃない。君の考えを聞かせてほしい。
You sit beside the person closest to your heart. As he gently unpacks what he's noticed, your unease begins to ease. You start from the beginning. When I first received the invitation, the production team said they wanted to create a series of programs aimed at young attorneys and law students. I originally thought I could share my experience, but I never expected to receive so many skeptical and even emotionally charged submissions. Especially in recent sessions, there have been more and more negative voices. You've been resting these past few days. I didn't want to worry you, so I plan to wait a bit longer.
分かっている。君を責めるつもりはない。気づくのが遅すぎた私自身を責めているんだ。
His voice lowers. Beneath it lies quiet guilt.
インタビューの頃、いや、もっと前に気づくべきだったな。
Actually, there are some friendly letters too. Since I've signed the recording contract, I think it's best to stick with it until the end. Artem, don't blame yourself. You hadn't listened to the interviews before, so of course you didn't know what I was going through.
そんな風に優しい言い訳をくれるのは君くらいだろう。
He laughs softly and lifts his hand as if to ruffle your hair, but he stops mid-air. The wind moves through his open palm. He catches nothing. He closes his eyes and falls silent for a moment. When he looks at you again, the gloom from earlier is already gone.
そうだ。今責任を追及しても仕方がないな。何とかして問題を解決するのが先だ。続けると決めたのなら、その努力が水の泡にならないことを考えよう。現状では、避ければ避けるほど同じ問題がつきまとうことになる。余計な労力を費やすより、私に任せた方がいい。
How did you handle it?
インタビューで何度もせっつかれているなら、私はゲストとして歓迎されるはずだ。
Switching to a professional tone, Artem cuts right to the point.
私たちの関係についての質問は、私が対応しよう。名誉毀損の疑いのある発言なら話は早い。法的手段を取ればいいからな。
Wait, the Pramwa situation isn't over yet. Weren't we supposed to let things settle first and keep a low profile? You lean forward anxiously, wanting to dissuade him from this idea. At a time like this, you shouldn't get yourself involved in any new trouble.
やはり、私のことを心配していたんだな。
His tone is gradually layered with frost, yet his gaze remains as calm as still water.
今回は元へだったが、この先評判や勝率だけではなく、優秀な弁護士というイメージまで気にしなければならないのか。こうして話しているとわかるだろう。私には失えないものがたくさんある。だからこそ、あらゆる場面で我慢して妥協しなければならない。もしこのような抽象がこれからもつきまとって、君の歩んできた道が永遠に左京静馬という影に覆われたままでいいのか。
Artem looks at you, his eyes momentarily hollow as if gazing through you at his past self. Artem,
人の自我は想像以上に脆い。日々押し寄せる外界からの影響に抗い続けることはできん。抵抗しようと思った時には、すでに彼らの監視下に置かれている。知らない間に形作られ、変えられて、少しずつ自分の居場所が奪われていく。
he maintains his composure as he systematically suppresses all emotions, driving the conversation forward, leaving you no chance to object. Only the last half of the sentence is spoken slowly, and when he looks at you, a fleeting tenderness flashes in his eyes, so brief it feels like an illusion.
自分を追い込み続ける他にも、拒絶して諦める自由がある。
Is freedom really without cause? Who is it that pays that cost behind the scenes? You look straight into his eyes, letting him see the emotions in yours. It's you, isn't it? You think there's no need to ask this question. You've already heard a similar answer not long ago. He has the same mindset when dealing with the Primewell Group incident, preferring to bear the consequences alone in exchange for his so-called freedom. He was just as calm and determined then as he is now, never changing. Home. Not long ago, while Celis had yet to truly enter late autumn, the temperature in the capital was already approaching 0 degrees. After checking the weather forecast, you put a scarf in Artem's suitcase. Hearing his slightly hoarse voice, you hurry to find some anti-inflammatory medicine and cold remedy powder to pack as well. It might have been because of the sudden temperature drop, but his throat had started hurting over the past couple of days, like an early sign of an incoming cold. Artem leans against the kitchen island while on the speakerphone with a colleague from the capital, the anxious voice on the other end filling the room.
こちらの状況はご存知でしょうが、例の特許紛争で元江が法律事務所を変えようとしています。元江は IPO 前に訴訟に巻き込まれたくないのです。特にコア技術に関わる重要な権利関係の争いは避けたいと。もちろんこちらも同じ考えで、和解に向けて最善を尽くしましたが、失敗に終わり、このような事態になってしまいました。午後に元へのホーム VP と協議して、なんとか時間を稼ぐことができました。向こうも左京さんが来てから判断しようと言っています。今回のこと、本当に申し訳ありません。我々が至らないばかりに。
構わないさ。すでに起きてしまったことを責めても何も変わらない。できる限りの対処をしよう。元への訴訟への不安を払拭できれば、まだ事態を好転させる余地は。
He barely gets 2 sentences out before turning away to cough. You mute the call, gently pat his back, and push the glass of water closer to him. Yesterday it was just a sore throat, but today he started coughing. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Artem leans his forehead against his hand as he continues to reassure his colleague. His steady voice betrays no sign of anything unusual.
今晩首都に行くから、明日の朝の会議で詳しい状況を話し合おう。ここ数日眠れなかっただろう。今日は早めに休むといい。ああ、そういうことで。 またな。
After hanging up the phone, he picks up his water glass only to put it down again, then tugs at his collar and eventually rubs the skin on the side of his neck. What's the matter?
少しかゆいんだ。単に服のせいかもしれないが。
I'll find another sweater. You go to your room and change.
時間がないから首都のホテルに着いたら着替えるよ。残りわずかな時間は私たちの別れに使いたい。
Alright, I'm just worried that you won't take good care of yourself once you get busy in the capital. You touch his forehead with the back of your hand. Thankfully, he doesn't have a fever. Artem received news today that Capital Primewell Group Innovation, a long-term partner of Tammy's, is considering switching to a different law firm after an unsuccessful negotiation. The law firm naturally wants to retain this long-term client, and they need a partner-level attorney to handle the aftermath. After discussion, Artem is the only one who has both the time and capability to take on this task recently. Even without knowing the full picture, you can tell from the bits and pieces that you do know that it's a thorny situation, not to mention how he has to travel long distances while feeling unwell. How long will you be staying in the capital?
数日間は動けないだろう。元へとの交渉が一度でまとまるとは思えない。先方の責任者が交渉に出てくるなら、法律事務所を変えるという言い分の裏に何か別の思惑があるのかもしれない。私が明日出向いて、まず訴訟の責任を引き受けよう。そして状況が落ち着くのを待って、改めて話し合いの場を設ける。
Are you trying to take on all the blame? Meeting your worried gaze, his tone remains rather casual.
ああ、責任は私が取る方がいい。元への窓口担当は入社間もない若手社員だ。成長と経験を積む時間、さらに失敗する場も必要だろう。一度の失敗で萎縮して、最後には間違いを恐れて挑戦すら避けるようになってほしくない。
Alright, I guess you'll be busy once you get to the capital. Take care of yourself.
わかった。
He smiles and leans in closer, but just as you lift your head to respond, his hand gently pushes you back down.
咳が出てるからな。これを別れの挨拶としよう。帰りを待っていてくれ。
Autumn plants a kiss on your hair. With time being the essence, he soon leaves home with his luggage in hand. Maple River Camping Park. Compared to his return home and the ripple caused by this journey to the capital, that farewell kiss now seems so fleeting and rushed. Pulling yourself from those memories back to reality, you look at the person before you, trying your best to stay calm. You want to resolve this conflict peacefully, hoping it can end right here and now. Of course, I know I can give up and leave everything to you. Like in the Primewell Group case, can I sacrifice you in exchange for growth, for the freedom to fail and give up?
元への件とは全く話が違う。成長するときには一人で乗り越えなければいけないこともある。だが、君が今受けている仕打ちは全て私の招いたことだ。私がすべきことを何か崇高な犠牲のように言わないでくれ。
But I feel like this whole thing is just like that day you went on your business trip. When Artem once again turns the blade toward himself, you finally realize that the conversation is trapped in his logic, built upon his safe plan. Your long-maintained rationality is on the verge of collapse. You want to quickly break down his logic so both of you can be free. You say you'll take care of yourself, but you clearly can't. Because every time you face a dilemma, you always choose to sacrifice yourself first.
このことで一番身に覚えがあるとすれば、身内に振り回された私の経験が君の上で繰り返されているということだ。
Then why can't you empathize and understand that I want to protect you too?
それは。
Artem falls silent for a moment, unable to continue, as if he has hit an immovable wall of ice and reef, letting himself sink into the stillness of the night. The wind fans the flames, and everything the bonfire touches becomes fuel. After burning through the branches, the wind sweeps in dried insect wings to feed the fire. The fire casts black shadows on everything around except for the flames themselves. The shadows from the pile of wood resemble a silent, long-extinguished mountain. Is Artem also one of those mountains? His long coat drags across the sandy ground, pressing down on a few leaves. Just as you're about to look away, he suddenly speaks.
愛と庇護は一部の自由を奪うだろう。だが失ったものの大切さに気づくのはもっと後になるのかもしれない。
Loss? His answer pushes you into deeper confusion, as you're not sure if he means the one to protect, to be protected, or perhaps both. After finally uncovering the mystery, instead of finding freedom, you fall into the cage alongside him. You almost forget what started all this. You struggle to sit up straight before questioning him. Are you trying to say that all of this is your responsibility?
そうだ。
After a few seconds of silence, he answers calmly. So, in the end, even after all the arguing, this is still the answer you get. After he speaks, both of you go quiet again. Your gazes drift toward the sand and the mountains, anyway, but at each other. A camping lantern sits between you, yet it feels like there's so much more in the way. If it had shape, it might be tall enough to be a mountain or a tower. Just as your thoughts start spiraling somewhere ridiculous, you catch a flicker of movement. Artem walks over to the grill and crouches to adjust the charcoal. The scent of chestnuts and sweet potatoes drifts in the air. You avoid looking in that direction, but your thoughts are harder to steer. If neither of you speaks first, how long will this silence last? Will it last all night, or will it stretch on until tomorrow? You're still overthinking when footsteps sound in front of you. Reflexively, you look up.
焼き芋が焼けたようだ。少し冷ましておいたから先ほどよりは熱くないだろう。食べてみるか？
He props one elbow against the tent pole, peeking out from under the string of colored lights. He looks at you with a soft smile. The tower crumbles in an instant. Your heart skips a beat, fluttering in sync with the string of colorful lights hanging from the tent. Coming! The sweet aroma of roasted sweet potatoes is already wafting through the air, making anyone want to stay close to the warm oven. You curl up like in a tiny snail shell, using the hem of someone's coat beside you to cover your knees, shielding yourself from the autumn night's wind. The split chestnuts release their sweet fragrance. The sweet potatoes develop a caramelized, crispy skin while small flames keep them warm. You drag your chair closer. The chair leg accidentally pins the hem of Artem's coat to the ground, making him stumble unexpectedly. The chair creaks and fabric rustles. You both settle again, and he hands you a sweet potato.
熱いからゆっくり食べなさい。
Ouch! His warning comes a moment too late. You've already taken a bite and are now covering your mouth, inhaling sharply from the heat. Artem surprised his laughter as he blows on the one in his hand.
もう少し置いておこう。君はこちらを食べるといい。もっと甘いから。
How did you know?
先ほどは強く出てしまって。君は気にしないでくれ。
You lean in to observe more closely and suddenly hear the conversation topic return to the previous argument. You remain silent and listen as he continues speaking.
私に責任があると言ったのは、君への市場も理由の一部だが、私が注目を集めるとき、同じ環境にいながら理不尽に冷遇を受ける者がいる。そうした根拠のない称賛は好ましくないと思うからだ。もちろん、すべての偏見を変えられるなどと甘い考えは持たないが、できる限りのことはしたい。このことについては考えがあるのだが、今私を悩ませるのは全く別の理屈で。
The distant bonfire suddenly flares up, casting a patchwork of shadows from the sky and trees onto him. Multiple light sources overlap, and in that chaotic interplay of light and shadow, he continues to captivate your gaze.
何をしたいのかは君の自由だ。だが、選んだ道に問題があるのに放置して進むべきではない。
I know. The truth that is so easy to understand when you are calm becomes lost in those moments when you only want to tear down the other person's logic or simply vent your anxieties to those closest to you. Under the night's fiery glow, Artem's gaze grows heavy, as if there is still much left unsaid.
私たちは今日喧嘩したことになるのだろうか。
As he hesitantly asks the question, Artem squeezes the sweet potato in his hand, his fingertips touching a bit of burnt sugar. The word argument probably feels foreign to him. It's never come up between you two until now. You stay silent for a moment, then look up to meet his eyes. Not really. Our logic just now wasn't clear enough to even call it a proper argument.
論理なんて考える余裕もなかったが。だから先に謝らせてほしい。今日のことだけではない。これからも君が選んだ人は、左京静馬という男は君に全てを与えたいと思っている。
After getting the answer, Artem leans back in his chair. Though his posture suggests relief, it doesn't free him from his worries. Instead, his tone carries a subtle hint of detachment. Not toward you, but toward himself. Unable to understand the reason behind each, you subconsciously move closer to him. Why don't you let me choose again? Let's see if I'll end up with you every single time.
ああ、その通りだ。まずは今夜のことからやり直させてくれないか。
Artem lowers his voice and slowly draws closer, gradually filling your entire field of vision, intending to seal his gentle whispers with a kiss. He closes his eyes first. You follow a few seconds later, lingering to watch his eyelashes flutter in the firelight. Then you hear the wind whistling in your ears, startling the common crows in the wilderness. One cross call awakens many others, their cries echoing endlessly. The atmosphere dissipates completely. His breath lingers close by for a moment before he reluctantly withdraws to his original position. You both avert your gazes, yet catch each other's shadows in your peripheral vision. The crow's cries from the treetops grows increasingly loud and shrill, like trumpets heralding victory. Are you trying to...
いや、私の焼き芋の方がもっと甘いと伝えるつもりだった。
Really?
部分的には。
Artem's eyes are downcast, his mouth almost completely hidden behind his scarf. His head drops lower and lower. Before he buries his face in his scarf, you wrap your arm around his shoulders. Oh well, you'll take over. The flames dance behind you as the solid ground and all the young leaves it natures melt away. Yet to your eyes, the raging fire looks as easy as candlelight. Everything is fine except Artem gets completely flustered and accidentally drops the sweet potato, the one that is supposed to be very sweet inside.
すまない。落としてしまった。君の足がコートに。気をつけてくれ。
The sweet potato falls. His foot gets stepped on. His cuff twists messily across his chest. All he manages to hold on to is the lover in his arms. The wind rushes through the autumn night. It howls at the flap of your tent. Beneath the stars, you share a kiss. On the way back to the guest house, neither of you brings up the earlier conversation, as if the argument tonight never happened. After washing up and turning off the lights, you say goodnight like usual, but the moment you close your eyes, the unfamiliar scent of each other's body wash becomes unmistakably clear. The thoughts flashing through your mind linger like that unfamiliar scent, but you're too tired today, you'll deal with them tomorrow. With these thoughts, you slowly drift off to sleep. You don't know how long you've been asleep when a sudden weightlessness jolts you awake. You reach out instinctively, Artem isn't here. B&B living room. Following the light spilling from the living room, you see Artem coming in, his hood draped loosely over his shoulders. What were you doing outside?
今の窓から音が聞こえてな。窓を閉めるついでに戸締まりも確認していた。起こしてしまったか？
It's fine. I wasn't sleeping well anyway. But what about you? Have you been up this whole time?
そうか。君も眠れないと。なら、もう少し話でもしようか。
He closes the door tightly and walks over to you, his coat still carrying the chill of the night.
今日のことを明日まで引き延ばすつもりはない。それに、一緒にいるのに何かを避けて過ごすこともやめにしよう。互いの思いをはっきり伝える。それでいいだろうか。
Okay, why don't you start off by telling me what's keeping you up at night? You pull Artem over to the tea table and cup his slightly cold hand in yours.
私が出張から帰ってきた日のことだ。正確には病院から戻って君がベッドのそばで付き添ってくれた時のことを。
The day you had a fever, I thought you were thinking about tonight. You thought he's been hung up on the argument from tonight. Hearing his unexpected reply, you can't help but showing your surprise. But now that you think about it, the day Artem returned from the capital with a fever really is where all of today's tension starts. The moment he brings it up, the memories from that day surface clearly in your mind. Home. After returning from the capital, Artem has a slow fever and develops a rash in the evening. You two immediately go to the hospital for a checkup and purchase medicine. It is already late at night when you get home. At that time, you have already accepted Voice of Answer's invitation. While watching over him as his fever goes down, you are also preparing materials. You look through the past cases you have worked on together. Then you turn your head to glance at him. Meeting your gaze, Artem pauses. He stiffly releases his hand from his collar and pulls the blanket up to shield himself.
君の邪魔をしてしまっただろうか。
After coming home, Artem sits quietly against the headboard. He occasionally can't resist fidgeting with his collar. Even after applying medicine, the rash still itches. It's more unbearable than pain. No, I was just getting through our old kisses. Then I suddenly felt like checking on you. You're still healing. Just relax and rest easy. You don't have to worry about a thing.
ここに寄りかかっていれば、君の顔がよく見える。インタビューの収録はいつから始まるんだ？家族として優先的に聞かせてもらえないだろうか。
It takes some time after the recording before it goes live. I'll let you know when it's available. At the mention of the long prepared interview, your face lights up with excitement. You set down your pen and begin telling him the details. Read some materials that I can share publicly. I hope I can take this opportunity to share the experience I've accumulated. While organizing the materials, I took the opportunity to summarize some experiences for myself. That's an extra gain in itself. You place the back of your hand on Artem's forehead. Even though you had just used a thermometer, you still want to feel his temperature through skin contact. I really wish I could help you handle more emergencies. That way, you don't have to travel while sick and shoulder all the responsibilities alone.
誰もが自分の実力を過小評価してしまうのだろうか。君は私が見る限り十分優秀だ。現実問題、釣り合いの取れる解決策は少ない。比較検討した上で、私は最適解を導き出せたと信じているよ。
After a whole night of fever, Autumn's voice is completely hoarse, yet his gaze remains bright and intense.
この程度の責任はどうということでもない。私のことなら心配しなくていい。
Apart from his uncontrollable urge to seek out places cooler than his body temperature, Autumn doesn't act sick at all. After seeing the doctor, getting the meds, and handling a simple handover, he stays quiet. He doesn't look at his phone or force himself to work. He knows exactly what to do to recover quickly and follows each step with precision. You can hardly find a reason to worry, but as you look into his calm eyes, a vague fear takes root in your heart. Your voice is so hoarse. Don't talk too much. Get some rest. Instead of your hand, you press your forehead to his. That stops him from saying another word. He's already home now, where there aren't so many responsibilities or compromises to deal with. Neither you nor he needs to talk about this anymore. B&B room. Come to think of it, perhaps the tower was built since then. The fear stemming from his illness and his suffering for others has been accumulating in your heart until today. You let out a soft sigh and look at the person sitting beside you. Artem wears a rare, distant look, as if, like you, he hasn't fully returned from the memories yet.
あの夜、今でも覚えているよ。君の目に映る期待とインタビューのために費やした努力を。
Autumn breaks the silence in the room. He lowers his gaze, eyes unfocused, staring at the floor.
君の選んだ相手が枷になってはいけない。いざという時は全てを捨てて、自分のことだけを考えてくれ。
Are you worried about becoming my shackles?
君が不自由を強いられていたり、私のために黙って我慢したりすることの方が心配だ。だが、君の言葉を聞いて、ようやく気づいた。私が今日感じた気持ちを、君も同じように経験していたんだな。
He takes your hand and presses it to his forehead, revealing everything in his eyes without holding back.
病気のせいで心配をかけてしまって、すまない。
Artem, you repeat the habitual action you've developed while caring for him during his fever. You withdraw your hand and replace it with your forehead against his. In just a few days, I've developed a habit of wanting to touch your forehead to check your temperature. It's not as accurate as a thermometer, but somehow this feels more reassuring. Maybe to you, a fever is nothing special. The Primewell group doesn't matter either, and the rumors about you don't seem worth mentioning, but it still makes me sad. You climb onto his shoulders, shifting your weight onto him. Autumn, if you don't want me to face danger, then please don't put yourself in the eye of the storm either. Okay?
ああ、約束しよ
One more request. Stop saying your name in such a cold tone. Whenever he mentions himself, his voice always carries a kind of detachment, like he's examining someone unrelated to him, someone he can deny or discard. In his world, Autumn is something he is always ready to put on the scale. As long as it's within his limits, he's willing to trade himself for it. You even feel relieved that because he's Artem, he has more room to be sacrificed. Just like when he's sick, Autumn quietly presses his forehead against yours.
すまない。気づいてなかった。
You don't need to apologize. Don't apologize for who you are. You let out a quiet sob. You feel tears begin to fall. Then somehow, at the last moment, you hold them back, trying to your best to smile. Your voice is too hoarse to hide anything. Autumn's breath softens. His palm gently covers the back of your neck in a gesture almost like a kiss. But you're simply trying to feel each other more deeply, to sense each other's presence.
また言い合いになるかもしれないが、君が恐れることは何もない。それは、二つの魂が互いを形作るときに、必ず払わなければならない代償だろう。心配が足かせになることもない。やりたいことをやりたいように、それぞれがなせばいい。
Alright, let's each other do what we want to do. At worst, we'll mess things up together. Autumn lets out a relief laugh, closes his eyes and kisses your forehead, longer than any goodnight or farewell kiss he'd given before. After a day of conflict and chaos finally dissolves, pulling the shadows of fear from your heart, you both need this kiss to bid farewell to the night. Maple River B&B Courtyard. The consequence of a night spent talking heart to heart is that you both wake up later than usual the next day. When you push open the door, sunlight already warms the small courtyard, making it feel unlike the deep autumn. Autumn lays out brunch on the outdoor table in the courtyard. As you run over to help, your phone rings. It's a call from the host of Voice of Answers. Artem glances down at the screen and gestures for you to put it on speaker.
どうも弁護士さん。先日話したステラ大学の現場インタビューですが、来週土曜日に決まりましたよ。
Sure, I'll be there on time.
念のためですが、今回のインタビューは普段の収録とは違いますからね。現場では一切のミスが許されません。経験が浅いと緊張して間違いやすくなりますからね。左京先生をお連れすることをお勧めしますよ。彼なら現場をよく知ってるでしょう。何より左京先生は有名な方で学生にも人気がありますから、番組の注目度も確実というわけです。
I'll prepare more thoroughly for the on-site interview to avoid any mistakes. But since Mr. Wing isn't your contracted guest, I'm afraid I can't make that decision on his behalf. If you really want to invite Mr. Wing, you can try contacting our law firm and asking about his personal wishes.
若い人が実力を証明したいという気持ちはわかりますが、現場で難しい質問が出たらどうします？対応しきれないかもしれません。
I understand what you mean by tough questions, and I'm mentally prepared. I'm willing to respond as a young attorney. I'll share whatever experience I've accumulated and do my best. That's what aligns with the theme of youth power for this special issue. You give your answer calmly, only to be met with a clear sound of disapproval from the other end.
これだから若いやつは。それではこうしましょう。以前のお便りをよく読み返して、もう一度お考えください。
The host soon carries a faint hint of warning. As soon as they finish, they hang up. Autumn stays quiet the whole time, silently putting away the dishes. Only after the call ends does he frown slightly.
あの司会の態度はおかしい。 暗に君を貶めている。
What do you mean?
言いたいことは、指導や助言という名目で語られる言葉の多くは、相手を否定する形が潜んでいるということだ。渦中に身を置いていると気づきにくいかもしれないが、少し見方を変えて相手の立場を考えるといい。
As he speaks, he suddenly reaches across the dining table, removes a leaf from your shoulder, and then points to the chair beside him.
その木から葉が落ちてくるから、こちらに座りなさい。
Oh, okay. You move to a different spot with your bowl, contemplating the scenes from previous recordings. I've been so focused on the letters that I did overlook the host's attitude. I'll think about it carefully. Alright, would you like to go to conduct on-site interviews? Refusing the host's request is a matter of principle, but within the freedom you secured for Artem, you won't stop him from going to the interview. As you two agreed last night, you can each do what you want to do.
そのつもりだ。番組側はおそらく私のいい話ばかりはしないだろうが、現場に行ってどのような角度から私たちを貶めようとするのか聞いてみるとしよう。
Looking forward to your arrival. Stelis University. The on-site interview takes place in a lecture hall at Stelis University. Since there's no limit on registration, even after the room is full, students and members of the public continue to come in and listen. The atmosphere turns out more relaxed and pleasant than expected. During the Q&A session, some ask about professional knowledge and case experience, while others bring their textbooks and ask you to help highlight key points. As the interview draws to a close, a familiar yet unexpected question comes up.
弁護士さんは佐京先生のパートナーだとお聞きしましたが、実は佐京先生も大した人ではないと思います。10年後には私たちの中から追い越せる人が出てくるかもしれませんよね。
The students' playful tone sparks laughter throughout the classroom, and you can't help but smile too. I believe everyone can do it.
佐京先生のパートナーとしてご自身の輝きが影に隠れてしまうのではと心配されたことは？
面白い質問ですね。佐京先生と組めばどんな結果を出してもみんな彼の名前しか覚えられませんから。
As soon as the question comes up, the host of the Voice of Answers immediately picks it up and steers the conversation toward a sharper angle.
ご自身の努力の成果をパートナーの手柄にされてご不満はなかったんですか？
Their intent to sow discord grows more and more obvious. At Artem's reminder, you carefully recall your interactions with the host. His so-called guidance and advice are actually just subtle forms of psychological pressure. During the show's recording, he often magnifies the controversial parts of listeners' letters, deliberately intensifying conflict. But this time, his manipulation is doomed to fail. You pick up the mic to respond, ignoring his provocation, and face the student who asked the question. To me, brilliance is something of an idealized concept. Most of the time, attorneys deal with specific cases and clients waiting for help. Partners need to cooperate and support each other for months, even years before they see a glimmer of hope. For two people walking side by side, reaching the end together matters more than anything. They rarely pay attention to how the world sees you. But that's not to say there's nothing between partners.
パートナーの間にも衝突はある。
Another voice picks up the conversation, and your gaze pauses on the familiar figure standing at the classroom door. At the same time, everyone at the scene clearly hears the specific guest's voice. the special guest's voice.
私への質問のようだから、私からお答えしよう。構いませんね。
左京先生直々にお答えくださるなんてもちろん大歓迎ですよ。
Upon seeing who just walked in, the host strides forward excitedly. A few seconds later, the audience reacts and the classroom bursts into noise, only to fall silent again as he begins to speak. With no seat and no mic in front of him, Artem leans casually against the door frame.
パートナーシップは皆さんが思うよりも残酷かもしれません。栄えある勝利どころか、相手の敗北まで背負わなければならない時があります。二つの独立したものが出会えば、考え方の衝突は避けられず、最も深い絆を持つことは、最も深い対立と隔たりを抱えるのと同じです。弁護士なら、今日のパートナーが明日の好敵手となることがあるでしょう。もし衝突を恐れるなら、相手を深く理解する機会も失われてしまう。ですが、そうした問題や疑問、隔たり、あるいは輝きといったものについて、私のパートナーに問う必要はありません。一人前の優秀な弁護士に、どうしてパートナーに選ばれたのかと問いかけるのは無意味です。
Through the dense crowd, his gaze shifts to the podium above, looking at you as you stand there stunned, still holding the microphone.
何よりも、我々の歩んできた道こそが答えなのだから。
The path we've walked is our answer. He speaks in a plain and concise manner. It takes you a moment to realize you're the subject. Like everyone else in the classroom, you're stunned for a brief moment before silently repeating his words.
そういえば、私も左京先生は大したことないと思っているよ。
Artem smiles casually, scanning the entire classroom. His gaze doesn't linger deliberately anywhere, yet it takes in everyone present.
皆さんと戦える日を楽しみにしています。
The room falls silent for a moment before erupting into cheers and applause. Amid the commotion, Artem glances at his wristwatch and walks straight towards you.
インタビューは終わったようだ。帰ろうか、私のパートナー。
Hold on, there's one more thing to take care of. You walk up to the host, and before you can say anything, the host flashes a diplomatic smile.
弁護士さん、今日は見事な腕前でしたね。左京先生もいらっしゃいますし、一緒にスタジオまでお越しいただけませんか。
That won't be necessary. There's something else I'd like to discuss with you. If you don't mind, shall we move somewhere quieter to talk?
ああ、いいですよ。
The host's gaze sweeps over you and Artem in turn. Compared to the sincere smile on his face, the emotions in his eyes are unusually complex. Corridor. At a quiet, secluded space at the end of the school building's corridor, Artem waits several windows away, giving you space to handle the interview matter. You lean against the windowsill and look at the host. Not wanting to waste time, you get straight to the point. I've decided to terminate my collaboration with Voice of Answers, and I won't be participating in any future program recordings.
契約打ち切り弁護士さん、いきなりどうしました？
I thought it was strange earlier. Why was the proportion of negative scripts we received during recording so high? I didn't think too deeply about it at the time, but comparing it with today's on-site interview, I believe the issue lies with you and the production team. The production team deliberately filtered out the negative articles and sent them to me, didn't they?
故意に。弁護士さん、ご自身の発言には責任を持ってくださいね。私たちにわざと困らせる理由なんてあるわけないじゃないですか。
It's all for the show's ratings. Whether it's me, Mr. Wing, or those attacking comments about me were all just tools. for you to create past. Once I realized the problem lies with all of you, it wasn't hard to figure out the motive behind it. Given these circumstances, not only will I personally cease cooperation with you, but I will also advise other attorneys to carefully reconsider their involvement. Ignoring the host's shifting expressions, you return to Artem's side. Mr. Wing, let's go.
わかった。
You and Artem leave the teaching building one after the other. After walking for a while, you gradually fall into step beside each other, your shadows merging into one behind you. B&B living room. Before autumn ends, you visit Maple River once again, staying at the same guest house as last time. Although your itinerary is similar to the previous visit, your feelings are completely different. On the last day of the holiday, Autumn will fly to the capital at noon to continue negotiations with Primewell Group, while your schedule is more flexible. You plan to check out in the afternoon and head home with your extra luggage. You plan to make the most of your remaining half day off by visiting the persimmon grove on the east side of the district, but your do not disturb holiday mood gets broken early in the morning. Just as you put on your coat and are about to head out, your phone suddenly rings. Right when you pick it up, his phone left on the table starts vibrating. Atom gently picks up his phone and leans down close to your ear.
外で出るよ。出かけるときはマフラーを忘れないように。
He points at the scarf you've casually dropped over the back of the chair. Since your phone call is already connected, you can't speak, so you nod firmly. The call is from the manager of another podcast show. After ending the collaboration with Voice of Answers, the show contacts you with a new invitation. They are so earnest and enthusiastic, sharing idea after idea, that you can't find a chance to suggest rescheduling your chat. After finishing his call, Artem comes in, sees you discussing work, and silently circles around the room before returning to the small courtyard. After about 10 minutes, you want to find paper and pen to take notes. When you turn your head, you see Artem quietly leaning against the doorway. You move your phone away and speak to him softly to reassure him. It will be done soon.
急がなくていい。
Artem walks out with a smile, and through the half-closed wooden door and window, you can faintly see his silhouette pause in front of the red maple tree in the center of the courtyard. At the end of the call, the other party kindly gives a warning. News of the rift between Themis and Primewell is spreading, and some people are taking the chance to defame Artem. For example, the host of Voice of Answers described the Primewell Group incident as Artem's failure, sensationalizing it to gain massive views for themselves. After hearing what the program manager relays to you, you smile helplessly and thank her for her kindness. Thank you for the reminder. I'll pass it on to Mr. Wing. When you hang up, your phone is already slightly warm. Knowing time is of the essence, you grab your scarf and go out to look for Artem. Maple River B&B courtyard. Artem stands alone beneath the maple tree, lost in thought. He doesn't even notice when the wind blows his scarf askew. Artem, your scarf is crooked.
Hmm?
By the time he looks over in a daze, you've already crossed the stone steps and fallen leaves and run up to him. Let me handle this. The call took a while. You must be getting impatient.
大丈夫だ。前に君を待っている時は仕事の返信をしていたからな。こうして静かに待つのも悪くない。
Well, you leave a corner of your scarf, but his instinctive reply leaves you speechless. It's as if you forget to move, just standing there with him. On an ordinary late autumn day, in a small courtyard in the suburbs filled with persimmon trees and red maples, Mr. Wing, the lawyer rumored to fall from grace sooner or later, is waiting attentively for someone. Perhaps out of boredom from waiting, he twirls the maple leaf in his hand, silently counting the fallen leaves before you as the wind passes by. He described this moment as a rare wait. He's doing joyful as if he has received some kind of
き
gift.
っと今日のことは忘れないだろう。楓の木が植えられた小さな庭。扉は開いていたが邪魔をする者はいなかった。通り過ぎる人々も木の下にいる見知らぬ者の心情など気にも留めない。彼が何を期待しているのか知る由もないからだ。
Anticipating?
待つことは期待することではないだろうか。一枚の葉が落ちる間に君は電話を切り上げて私を探しに来るだろうと期待していた。
He closes his eyes and tilts his head to listen to the wind, describing what his heart feels like in this moment of waiting. The stone path is layered with fallen leaves. Even if he doesn't notice you at first, the sound of your footsteps stepping through the leaves tells him that his wait is over. Turns out that this season, so often tied to withering and fading, also carries a meaning like anticipation.
マフラーを忘れたことに気づいて取りに戻るかもしれないし、他に何か忘れ物があるかもしれない。そうなれば次の葉が落ちることを期待してもう少し待つしかない。
His words make you feel as if time has reversed before your eyes, the courtyard becoming lush and green again. You ask without thinking. Are you wearing a scarf? But what then?
そのうち私の名前を呼ぶ声が聞こえて、顔を上げると君の姿があった。確かにこれ以上話していると今日は待ち続けるだけの物語をずっと繰り返すことになりそうだな。
It wouldn't be so bad if today kept looping like this. We could keep having our holiday and never have to part.
今日はいい日だが、私はこれからの人生も見てみたい。
The person who sparks your imagination refuses to indulge in it too much. He softens his voice and gazes at you tenderly.
好きなことを思うがままにやってくれ。君の選ぶ未来を見届けるために、私はあらゆる準備を整えよう。どれがどのような形であれ、私たちの間に様々な変化をもたらすとしても。
Future. The future holds the unresolved Pranwell group keys, along with the piles of files and 20 cases on your desk. Once you step out that door, you will both return to your own battlegrounds. Life breaks into scattered fragments with every parting and reunion. You have to keep walking for a long time before that hazy future even starts to take shape. A flood of thoughts flashes through your mind. Artem notices your distraction and gently calls your focus back.
今は未来のことよりも、2時間後に迫った別れに思いを馳せてほしい。
He waves the maple leaf in front of you, a rare direct gesture you don't often see from him.
この出張がいつ終わるのかわからないからな。残りの時間は木の下でのんびりするか、それとも一緒に柿を摘みに行こうか。
Of course, I want to pick persimmons together. Alright, I'll go get another pair of gloves. Your pair is in the suitcase, right? I'll bring them over together.
待ってくれ。私が取りに行こう。
He steps in front of you, a touch of panic in his voice. This time, you're the one looking at him, confused. What's the matter?
今朝、君が寝ているうちに手紙をスーツケースに入れておいた。
Letter?
アンサーズボイスは悪意のある投稿を手紙として扱ったが、 あのようなものは手紙とは言えないだろう。もし君が思い出すなら、私の送った一通を覚えていてほしいと思ってな。本当は家に帰った後に見つけてもらうつもりだったが、せめて私の目の前で開けるのは控えてくれ。
Got it. I'll look at it when I get home. As you listen to his explanation, the last sharp edge of your heart smooths out, and before you even notice, a smile starts to form on your lips. Go get the gloves. I'll wait here for you.
ああ、すぐに戻る。
On the last half day of your holiday, you pick persimmons and have lunch together in the time you have before Artem leaves for the airport. You keep squeezing every last minute on the road to say goodbye, so much that he ends up rushing off with his luggage. He doesn't take the sunlight or the maple leaves from the yard with him. You sit in this little courtyard full of sun and read the letter he left behind. The letters isn't long, it's just a single thin page. His handwriting is the same as always, quick and sharp except for a few spots where longer spaces linger between the words. It feels like he's sitting under a dim desk lamp, thinking for a long time before putting pen to paper.
この手紙を書いている今、君は眠っている。明かりが暗いので、乱れた字を許してほしい。手紙を書こうと思ったのは、言葉では時に流され、書き消されてしまうが、文字なら長く留めることができるかもしれないからだろう。君の人生に言葉の跡を残すこと。それが密かな私の願いだ。心の中では延々と綴られる言葉も、書き記せばわずかな文字にしかならない。私のために悲しんでほしくない。好きだからと譲歩したり、犠牲になったり、自分の戦いから離れようとしないでくれ。いつか空を流れる雲や空を飛ぶ鳥の方が好きになったとしても、私のために足踏みをしてとどまらなくてもいい。ただ唯一願うとすれば、いつかどこかで私を思い出すとき、君が私を思うその瞬間を大切な記憶として永遠に残しておきたい。たとえ時が脆く信じがたいものだとしても。もう日付が変わってしまったようだ。このまま明かりをつけていると君を起こしてしまうだろう。最後に一言だけ。これからは涙を流すことのないよう祈っている。
Autumn, November 14th.
もしもし、見えるか？よかった。ああ、前に一緒に泊まった民宿にいる。ここの焼き芋を君が気に入っていたから買うつもりが、少し困ったことになってな。さっき民宿のオーナーに柿の酒を勧められたんだ。地元の名産だからぜひと。あまり強い酒ではないだろうと。断るのも忍びなく一杯もらったが、少し酔ったな。柿の実が違う大きさに見えるし、君の声も遠くぼやけている。よかったら、アルコール度数を調べてくれないか。オーナーが通販もしていると言っていた。いや、大丈夫だ。具合が悪いわけではない。どうして目をそらす？私を見ないのか？ あ、そうか。調べてたのか。は話したばかりなのに忘れているとは、すまない。見つかったか？ 72 度？おかしいな。72度なら、今頃病院のベッドにいるはずだが。え、ああ、別のページを開いていたのか。あ、そうか。あ、私が飲んだのは、ブドウジュース感覚で飲めると。そうだったのか。いや、大丈夫だ。見せなくていい。君を信じている。もう平気だ。風に当たったら楽になった。だが、運転できないから、民宿に泊まって、明日帰るつもりだ。あ、わかった。ハニーウォーターを飲むから。寝る前に、電話をかけてくれ。理由は、特にない。ただ、君と話がしたい。そうしないと、今日が終わった気がしないんだ。ありがとう。電話を待っている。スマホを充電しておくから、おやす、あ、いや、また後で。出発前に、君に伝えたい言葉がたくさんある。本当に治った。保証する。元への件はきっと解決できると信じている。なぜなら、今回は君がくれた自信を持って出発したからだ。本当に治った。保証する。もう二度と心配させるようなことはしない。ん？何事も後回しにすることはなかったが、今なら、これがずっと続くのなら悪くない。一緒にいると、どれだけささやかなことでも特別な意味を持つ。例えば、この小さな庭で日向ぼっこすることでも、何事も後回しにすることはなかったが、今なら、これがずっと続くのなら悪くない。一緒にいると、どれだけささやかなことでも特別な意味を持つ。例えば、この小さな庭で日向ぼっこすることでも、自分の選んだ道を進みなさい。 一時の別れがあろうと同じ終着点で待っている。そろそろ私の戦いに向かわなければ。だがその前にもう少し二人の時間を大切にしたい。元への件は多少込み入っているが、もう目処は立っている。今回はきっと話がまとまるはずだ。そろそろ私の戦いに向かわなければ。だがその前にもう少し二人の時間を大切にしたい。実を言えばこうして一緒に木の下で何もせずに過ごすのも悪くないと思っている。そろそろ私の戦いに向かわなければ。だがその前にもう少し二人の時間を大切にしたい。自分の選んだ道を進みなさい。一時の別れがあろうと同じ終着点で待っている。何事も後回しにすることはなかったが、今ならこれがずっと続くのなら何か話したいことがあるか？いつでも聞こう。髪の毛が乱れている？なら少し直してくれないか？君が好きなことに夢中になるのを見ていると、私まで幸せな気分をもらえるようだ。今の君の考えを当ててみようか。そうだな。離れたくないと思っている？もし今日が永遠に繰り返されるのなら、君と一緒に楓の木の下で景色を眺めていたい。木を見つめ、紅葉を見つめ、そして君を見つめる。出張中はむしろ忙しい方がいい。そうすれば君への思いにとらわれることもないだろうからな。さっきまで君を待ちながら落ち葉を数えていた。数えているうちに君が来てくれたよ。出張中はむしろ忙しい方がいい。そうすれば君への思いにとらわれることもないだろうからな。さっきまで君を待ちながら落ち葉を数えていた。数えているうちに君が来てくれたよ。出張中はむしろ忙しい方がいい。そうすれば君への思いにとらわれることもないだろうからな。たった一枚の葉でも君が気に入るのであれば、私にとってはそれだけで特別なんだ。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？ それは考えたことがなかったな。気に入ったのならよかった。君の笑顔を見るのが好きだから。聞き忘れていたが、この前の焼き芋は甘かったか？気に入ったならまた今度焼かせてくれ。君が過酷な経験をしないよう願っているが、嵐に立ち向かう妨げにはならない。発疹ならもう治っているが、心配ならもう一度確認してもいい。首か？もう治っている。本当だ。もし信じられないなら、君の目で確かめてみるか？熱を出していた時から気づいていたが、君の手に触れていると心地いいんだ。柿を摘んだから干し柿を作ろうと思ってな。食べたいか？ああ、好きなことを思うがままにやりなさい。何でもいいんだ。熱を出していた時から気づいていたが、君の手に触れていると心地いいんだ。柿を摘んだから干し柿を作ろうと思ってな。食べたいか？熱を出していた時から気づいていたが、君の手に触れていると心地いいんだ。ああ、好きなことを思うがままにやりなさい。何でもいいんだ。咳じゃない。ただ、もっとよく見たい？わかった。じっとしている。そうだ、伝えたいことが。前に冷蔵庫で見つからないと言っていた飲み物は私が飲んでいたんだ。薬が苦くて。髪を整えてほしいと頼んだのは私だが、仕上がりは想像とは違っていたようだ。前にも言っただろ。君が私の弱点だ。髪を整えてほしいと頼んだのは私だが、仕上がりは想像とは違っていたようだ。前にも言っただろ。君が私の弱点だ。この日差しがずっと君を照らしているように見える。日差しにも君にも思わず近づきたくなるよ。もっとよく見たい？わかった。じっとしている。病気で薬を飲むことは大したことじゃない。それよりも心配する君を見る方がよほど辛い。今日はあえて時計をつけなかった。時間など気にしなければ存在しないのと同じだからな。病気で薬を飲むことは大したことじゃない。それよりも心配する君を見る方がよほど辛い。今日はあえて時計をつけなかった。時間など気にしなければ存在しないのと同じだからな。病気にかかった反省として今日は念入りに重ね着をしている。咳じゃない。ただ、私のことは気にせず、風の音に耳を澄ませるといい。からかうのをやめるなら、代わりに秘密を一つ教えよう。 それでいいか？もうすぐ出発の時間だと？はあ、別れが迫っているのに私にはどうにもできない。私のことは気にせず、風の音に耳を澄ませるといい。もう体を温かくしているから大丈夫だ。もう少し近づいてみないかと言ったが、本当に近づきたいのは私の方だ。昨日ボタンがマフラーに引っかかったことをまだ気にしているのか？ボタンに代わって謝ろう。君が選んでくれたコートはスーツケースに入れたよ。予備の薬も水筒も。ああ、全部入っている。昨日ボタンがマフラーに引っかかったことをまだ気にしているのか？ボタンに代わって謝ろう。君が選んでくれたコートはスーツケースに入れたよ。予備の薬も水筒も。ああ、全部入っている。昨日ボタンがマフラーに引っかかったことをまだ気にしているのか？ボタンに代わって謝ろう。もう少し近づいてみないかと言ったが、本当に近づきたいのは私の方だ。もっとよく見たい？わかった。じっとしている。ああ、その時は病気を理由に抱きしめてほしかった。だが、君の悲しそうな顔を見て、そんなことはすっかり飛んでしまったよ。ここの秋の景色が気に入ったのか？では、私が戻ったら、また一緒に散策しよう。熱があると、甘えん坊になると？これからは気をつけよう。ああ、その時は病気を理由に抱きしめてほしかった。だが、君の悲しそうな顔を見て、そんなことはすっかり飛んでしまったよ。あの夜、ベッドのそばで見守ってくれる君に、もう寝なさいと言おうとしたが、ずっとここにいてくれと言いそうになったんだ。もう少し近づいてみないかと言ったが、本当に近づきたいのは私の方だ。君が選んでくれたコートは、家族として別れのキスをもらう権利はあるだろう。風が強くなってきたな。マフラーをきちんと巻かないと風邪をひく。来なさい。私が直そう。 また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。一緒にいる時間が長いほど別れは辛くなる。また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。一緒にいる時間が長いほど別れは辛くなる。また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。また会った時に数日間の出来事を全て聞かせてくれないか。一緒にいる時間が長いほど別れは辛くなる。あの夜は不安だった。もし君が私を避けたらどうしようかと。そうならずによかったよ。ああ、約束だ。首都に行っても風邪をひかないよう健康には気をつける。髪が伸びたと？長いのも悪くないだろう？こうして君の指に絡むこともできる。君の体温を感じてそばにいることを確かめたい。寒いのか？来なさい。手を温めるから。ああ、衝突したり意見の食い違いを見つけたりするたびに私たちが近づいているのを感じる。これ以上何をすればいいのか、もう勘弁してくれ。感情的になって口にした言葉を本気にするべきではないが、例外はある。これ以上何をすればいいのか、もう勘弁してくれ。 もう少し寄れば心臓の鼓動が聞こえるはずだ。ああ、大丈夫だ。十分近いだろう。今一番やりたいことか。そうだな。君を一緒に連れて行きたい。別れる前にちゃんと私を見つめてくれないか。もう少し時間が欲しい。今一番やりたいことか。そうだな。君を一緒に連れて行きたい。別れる前にちゃんと私を見つめてくれないか。もう少し時間が欲しい。風が止んだら木の下でキスをしよう。ほら、今のうちに。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。ああ、衝突したり意見の食い違いを見つけたりするたびに私たちが近づいているのを感じる。別れる前に思いを託せるようなものを残してほしい。私たちのこれからの生活を心から見ていきたいと思う。落ち葉だったのか。てっきりいや、大丈夫だ。気にしないでくれ。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。君と一緒に秋には柿を探し、冬には梅の香りを嗅ぎに行きたい。あの頃から願いは変わらない。一つ君に頼みがある。時間が空いた時には私のことを思ってくれないだろうか。君と一緒に秋には柿を探し、冬には梅の香りを嗅ぎに行きたい。あの頃から願いは変わらない。一つ君に頼みがある。時間が空いた時には私のことを思ってくれないだろうか。すぐ戻るという約束をしても寂しさは消えないんだ。よくわかっている。また会った時に数日間の出来事をすべて聞かせてくれないか。寂しいのか。私もそうだ。鍵をかけてしまえばここから出られなくなるかもしれないな。あとどれだけ一緒にいられるのか。今だけは現実から逃げてしまいたいと思うよ。別れる前に思いを託せるようなものを残してほしい。 私たちのこれからの生活を紅葉が私たちの別れをせかしている。だが君が私を見つめてくれるのに、そう簡単に離れられるわけがない。出発前に君に伝えたい言葉がたくさんある。心配してくれるのは嬉しいが、私がいない間は自分のことも気にかけるように。本当に治った。保証する。もう二度と心配させるようなことはしない。本当に治った。保証する。もう二度と心配させるようなことはしない。元への件はきっと解決できると信じている。なぜなら今回は君がくれた自信を持って出発したからだ。本当に治った。保証する。心配してくれるのは嬉しいが、私がいない間は自分のことも気にかけるように。もう二度と心配させるようなことはしない。自分の選んだ道を進みなさい。一時の別れがあろうと同じ終着点で待っている。一緒にいるとどれだけささやかなことでも特別な。出発する前にもう少しだけ君を見つめていたい。ん？髪の毛が乱れている？なら少し直してくれないか？心配はしてないさ。ただ君が恋しくなるだけだ。毎晩電話をかけてもらえるだろうか？ありがとう。待っている。心配はしてないさ。ただ君が恋しくなるだけだ。もう二度と自分を嵐の中心に置くような真似はしない。君に誓って。心配はしてないさ。ただ君が恋しくなるだけだ。毎晩電話をかけてもらえるだろうか？ありがとう。待っている。来年の秋も紅葉を見に行けるだろうか？毎晩 電話をかけてもらえるだろうか。ありがとう。待っている。さっきまで君を待ちながら落ち葉を数えていた。数えているうちに君が来てくれたよ。君は、君は、君は、君は、君は、君が過酷な経験をしないよう願っているが、嵐に立ち向かう妨げにはならない。聞き忘れていたが、この前の焼き芋は甘かったか？気に入ったなら、また今度焼かせてくれ。荷物は何度も確認してから、忘れ物はないはずだ。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。風に吹かれてしまったが、今は君に聞くべきだろう。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？それは考えたことがなかったな。気に入ったのならよかった。君の笑顔を見るのが好きだから。もしいつか私たちがライバルになったら？秋が過ぎたら君の好きな場所へ連れて行こう。そこで一緒に冬を過ごしたいんだ。